Good morning, family and friends. Jehovah Jireh. The promise tested. Sometime later, after God had told Abraham to go and provided Abraham with a son, Isaac, God tested Abraham. When we finish chapter 21, Isaac is about 15 years old, which means Abraham is about 115 years old. God is now ready to test Abraham. Strangely enough, Abraham, in my opinion, had already been through several tests. I need you to leave your land, go. Don't know where he's going. I'm going to give you a child. His wife was barren. This word literally means to test completely through a demonstration of stress. It was often used in the Old Testament of God, testing the faith and faithfulness of his people. In a similar way, the underwriter's laboratory tests thousands of products, not to break them, but to demonstrate that they are good, reliable, and unbreakable. Later in Deuteronomy 8:2, we read that God led his people into the desert for a specific purpose, to humble you and to test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commands. Keep in mind that God does not tempt us as Satan does. He tests us in order to bring out the best. Someone has said that temptations often seem logical while trials seem unreasonable. Real faith is not believing in spite of the evidence, but obeying in spite of the consequences. Abraham has passed some tests earlier in his life and he failed some other ones. He's about to face one of the most extreme exams any father would ever take, the likes of which he never encountered before, one that I don't even know if I could pass. Don't miss this obvious point. We are never exempt from the challenge of faith, and we are never too old to be used by God. Sometimes the most trying tests come after years of following God faithfully. Abraham may have been on a cruise, chilling, just on cruise control spiritually. But all that was about to change because God wanted to know what was in his heart. God calls out to Abraham. Like a true servant, Abraham spontaneously replies, "Here I am." Abraham is ready to hear from God and probably eager to know what God's message is, what blessing he's about to get. Perhaps God was going to announce another blessing, another exotic location to get him ready for big battle. This is the 7th time that we know God has spoken to him, but this time God is going to demand something out of Abraham that will be extremely costly and exceedingly confusing. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about. Notice the 4 phrases God uses. Your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. God is making it very clear who he's talking about, and he's putting his finger on the fact that Isaac was everything to Abraham. And that was part of the problem, because God alone should be everything to him. God alone should be everything to us. God was saying, we've walked together for many years, and now you have the son you long for. Tell me, Abraham, is that son more important to you than your relationship with me? The 3 words, take, go, sacrifice, must have taken Abraham's breath away. Once again, Abraham is commanded to go somewhere he's never been. When Abraham had left Ur years earlier, he sacrificed his present security, and now God seems to be telling him to sacrifice his future security. There was no doubt what he was being asked to do. A burnt offering was a total sacrifice, with the offering being completely consumed by the fire and signified the complete dedication of the one making the sacrifice. There was no way the offering would be walking back from the altar. Total commitment will always be costly, as David said in 2 Samuel 24:24. I will not sacrifice to the Lord my burnt offerings that cost me nothing. This was Abraham's opportunity to demonstrate whether he loved the Lord with all his heart, soul, and strength. Deuteronomy 6:5. I want you to notice that God gives no explanation, just an expectation. He expected that Abraham would obey this staggering command. This was costly to Abraham, and it was also confusing because Isaac was the crucial foundation stone for the fulfillment of the promise that Abraham would become the father of many nations. God did not provide an explanation. He only wants to know, are we fully committed to him? Remember, God has to be our everything. And remember, he is Jehovah Jireh. Interestingly enough, he asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, but he had given him the paradoxical statement, you will be the father of many nations. God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac when he had given him that very son as a blessing to him and Sarah. But now God is asking the question, do you love your blessing more than you love the blessor? Something for us to think about today. May God bless and keep you is our prayer. And as always, should you have any questions, feel free to inbox me.